welcome to another edition of the Seer and the Scholar. My name is Rob Yox. Always with me today is Melinda, Rescue Media Melinda, as you all know. We have a very special guest tonight. And if you don't know this person, you probably have lived under a rock for the past 3 or 4 years. But we're going to get into who it is. I'm going to go into their bio real quick. But as you know, every Monday night from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., we are here to spark the mind and spark the soul, hence the name the Seer and the Scholar. You know, Monday nights are always a great night when we come on and we do our thing. So the person we have tonight is Daryl Marston. Daryl Marston is the co-lead investigator of Ghost Hunters, hailing from Middleton, Delaware. Daryl's investigation skills stem from his background as both a firearms instructor and a contractor, where he's not only gained value knowledge of how to investigate old homes and buildings, but also an understanding of how to be strong and disciplined leader, which is always a great thing. He founded his own team in 2011 and has led investigations on countless private residents and 40 notable historical locations, including abandoned funeral home House of Wills in Cleveland, Ohio, and the haunted Anderson Hotel in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. Daryl is known and respected in the field of paranormal investigation through his life, interactive investigations on social media, and he is also the host of a popular podcast, The American Ghost Hunters Show. And there is another thing that Daryl does is the Epic Haunts, which is really, really cool. But let's say hi to Daryl. Daryl, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Absolutely amazing. Melinda, how are you this evening?
I'm good, Rob. Daryl, I am just tickled to death you're here with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for having me on. I can't wait to do this. Yeah, it's the Epic Haunts, man. Let's jump into that because I tell you, I'm co-owner of Paranormal Warehouse. For some people who don't know that, Paranormal Warehouse is being the largest paranormal live streaming network in the world with over 500,000 followers. And we decided earlier this year, I should say, to reach out and start producing our own series, which is a produced series with camera ops and audio and producers called Epic Haunts, where I am the executive producer on and also starring in. And it's been a blast, man. It's hit the ground running. It's basically a scaled down version of Ghost Hunters. Not quite as big as far as production value or production side, but we do what we can with it, man.
Well, one of the great things about that too is you don't need all that production value to truly make something epic as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
It goes into the love that you guys have for the paranormal, and I've been a fan too, so I understand that. But it's the love and the things that you guys do, as in the way you approach certain aspects of what you're trying to do, which truly makes it a dynamic show and truly incredible.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're seeing a lot more of that, especially during this pandemic. Over the last 9 or 10 months, where a lot of these creators are going out and doing their own thing, a lot of independent companies, and because they don't have the restrictions like the bigger production companies do. And you're seeing a lot of great stuff getting produced and put out there. And it's great seeing that from these independent producers and these independent shows that maybe don't have the big production type audience, like an A&E or a Travel Channel or anything like that. And it's good to see, man. It really is, because I've been saying for 4 or 5 years now, that's the direction we're going in the business, not just with paranormal, but with shows, period, with the streaming services. It's a lot of things are going streaming, and this right here, what we've been going through for the last several, 9-10 months, is it just goes to show, man. You're getting a lot of good product out of it, to be honest with you.
I totally agree.
So, Daryl, you were talking about Epic Haunts. How did that get started? What inspired you to do it? Basically, what exactly is the process that you went through to start Epic Haunts?
Well, Epic Haunts actually started by my partners, Mike and Chris from Paranormal Warehouse, the other two owners. There's the three of us, and I was actually on the road doing ghost hunters at the time, and they hit me up about it. They had already been brainchilding about it for a while and been wanting to do something, and they were looking for a production company to do it. So I reached out to a couple of friends in the business, producers I work with on Ghost Hunters, and one of our producers from the actual show works on Epic Haunts with us, Nina, and so we put it all together. It came together pretty quick. It started probably in maybe January or February of this year. Actually, getting everything, put together and just lining people up and getting production crew, getting our camera ops, our audio, and everybody lined up to. And then, the pandemic hit, and we all were grounded for 3 months there. So we saw an opening in June. Hey, things started opening up a little bit, and it started lifting a little bit. So we said, hey, we got 2 weeks here. Let's shoot our first episode. So what we did is the whole premise behind Epic Haunts is basically bringing in these YouTubers, which is a whole different genre and a whole different world compared to where I come from, the TV side of it. They have their own, their own people who follow them. They have their own, fan base that don't even know we exist. And the same thing with us. We don't know they exist almost. And so what we did, we're reaching out to these paranormal YouTubers or these people who do these, this paranormal type stuff on YouTube or, urban exploring. And so even Twitch people, we're bringing in some Twitch people as well, because Twitch is a big thing now. But we reached out and I became friends with Omar Gosh TV, and he was our first person. He came in, opened his schedule up for us. He drove down to Virginia, or drove up to Virginia, I should say, and we shot. And we shot at an amazing location, and the Exchange Hotel and Civil War Museum, which I'd been to 3 or 4 times. I've done several events there, and I kind of fell in love with the building. Because it was always very active every time I was there, and we got some amazing evidence out of the building. And I can't stress how great it was. And we filmed it literally with a production team. We filmed it in about 24 hours. I mean, it was nonstop when we got there. We didn't have a big window. We had to film it, and we just hit the ground running. And the biggest thing was, we have an editor in LA who edits everything for us. And that was the big thing, because every time it came back to us, we look at it like it's not quite right. It's not what we want, on the editing side. And after about the 5th cut, we're like, okay, this is it. This is the one we want. And Omar watched it. He loved it. And and we launched it. And we're getting ready to shoot at Penhurst here in a couple weeks.
Well, I watched the episode you're talking about, and it was just amazing. And so, if anyone hasn't seen it, they really need to check it out, because it is very amazing. I loved it.
I did too. And I was very proud of it. It was my first time producing on that scale. And because I'm always in front of the camera, and I'm basically a student of it, because I watch the producers, and every producer has their own way of doing things. And I've watched some of the better ones, the ones I really respect, like Nina and guys like Mike Nichols and stuff from Pilgrim. And I watched them, over the last few seasons, and it's fun, and it's fun to do because you're actually producing and you're in front of the camera. So you're producing that scene. You're like, this is where I want to investigate. You're not being told where to investigate, or you're not being told you can't do this. You get to do what you want. I love that freedom.
Well, I think it's truly remarkable too, is that you're right. There are different aspects of paranormal when it comes to the YouTube side and the major production, like the channel type of side. And what you're doing is you're basically projecting this para unity, where you're bringing these two schools together to get this epic, just a transformation into this conglomerate. And it's really, I think it's extraordinary, because you're taking what you learned from the channel side and taking these YouTubers, and they're kind of giving like the back and forth. So you get like the best of both worlds,
Yep. Yeah, you're 100% right. And I wasn't, be honest with you, when it was brought to me and put in front of me, I was on the fence about it. I was like, how's this going to work? Because 2 totally different genres. And it worked, man. It really did. And now we have people lining up who want to be part of it. You know, some YouTubers and some Twitch people we have coming in, and it's really cool, man, to watch it because you get to bring them in, they get to do their type of investigating, and then we use the kind of investigating I do in Ghost Hunters, the more scientific approach to it, and not everything's paranormal, and not everything is clickbait, and that's the part I love about it, man. You put them both together, and you got this epic haunt. So yeah, I can't wait. We're doing Penhurst here on the 20th, and I'm really looking forward to that. We had a great guest coming in for that one as well, and it's gonna be great, man.
I think that you're not only setting a trend, but you're basically developing a new age of what the archetype is going to be for everybody moving forward now. If they're interested in what you're doing, to take it to this next level, that's really going to be truly epic, and I think it's awesome. I also saw what you did with I think it's Interstate Paranormal, and I think when you did the video on Facebook about donating to the cause to help
Yeah.
families around Christmas time. So
Yeah.
if you want to get into that just a little bit, because I think that that's truly a admirable thing, and I'm going to donate myself. I think it's truly amazing because
Yeah.
it's giving back, and it's awesome.
Anthony, who actually runs Interstate Paranormal up in Pennsylvania. Well, actually, it's more Delaware and Pennsylvania. He actually reached out to me. He's a good friend of mine. He's actually, he's hooked me up with a lot of great locations over the last year or so. And he said, "Hey, man, we got this family. We're trying to basically get donations for the holidays." I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm in." Mustafa said the same thing. "Hey, we're in. Whatever you need from us, let us know." And we made the videos, and it just happened to be we're trying to do more than one family now because it's getting momentum. So we're hopefully maybe more than one family, but it just happened to be there was a firefighter the very next day after I put that video out, a firefighter who works in the area, who works with this guy Anthony. His house burnt down that night, and his family, homeless, and two young kids, both of their birthdays in December, and it was our Thanksgiving in December, and it just happened to work out to that, unfortunately, but fortunately at the same time. And I think that's the direction, they're going to push a lot of it toward this family to give back for what this guy has done for the community. So it's great stuff, man. I hope to be part of more of it in the future, in the next, with the other holidays and things that come about. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if anybody out there in the audience, if you go to Interstate Paranormal's YouTube or Facebook page, I believe that they have links where you can donate as well. And I would stress everybody to do that. It's always good to give to the people who need it. And it's an admirable thing. And let's get on the ground and help people where we can, because I truly think that paranormal investigation is not only an essence of helping people, but taking what we know, with investigating and helping, we can help in other ways too. It's always about pushing forward to help the next man. And I truly believe that, 100%.
Yeah, it's the saying I always tell people, giving back. But if I grow, you grow, I grow. And that's something I really believe in this, especially in this field, and anything you do in life, to be honest, it doesn't matter what your job is. You can be a fireman, you can be a school teacher, whatever. But you try to pick up that person who maybe is not at your level and help them get to your level, and that's just gonna catapult you to a whole nother level as well. So it's just giving back and keep it moving. Yeah, that positive vibe, that positive energy, and man, just I'm not your typical TV guy on paranormal. I mean, I'm very down to earth with with the people who put me where I am, and I never forget that. And I always try to give back. Anybody will tell you who knows me through social media, like Melinda here. You hit me up on social media, I'm gonna get right back to you, as soon as possible. I try to do that for everybody.
Yeah, that's true, Daryl. Every time you're right on the money, but I'm going to be donating to that also because I think it's a wonderful cause.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I've been trying to put it out there to everybody I know to try to get that out there for you. So let's start with something that's a little bit more to the paranormal? What got you started into the paranormal?
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't realize I got actually into this paranormal thing, as I call it, by a complete accident. Actually, in 2005, I got invited to a local paranormal event around Halloween. It was a local paranormal team doing a investigation, and I was on the fence. Very, very much a skeptic, and basically, I got free tickets to go to this thing, and I think my mom was going. She wanted someone to go with her, so I'll go. Whatever. I watched the shows on TV at that point. Ghost Hunters, of course, and I think that was really the only one that was really out at that point. Maybe a couple of the foreign, like the ones from the UK. So I went, and I remember, it was only like a 2.5, 3 hour investigation, and we were in this location, which the basic location was Fort Delaware. And I remember there was like 100 people in the room who came, and back then, people got to remember, 15, 16 years ago, paranormal was not what it is now. And they had a paranormal investigator, which was this little old guy sitting in the corner, and they had one of the park rangers, or actually a couple park rangers there. And the lady stands up, she's like, "Hey, whoever wants to go on a historical tour, raise your hand." Literally 95 out of 100 people raised their hand. They all wanted to go on a historical tour. And then my mom looks at me and she's like, "I want to go on the ghost." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And then this little man went and raised his hand. He's like, "Hey, you go on the paranormal thing, come with me, follow me." So there's like 4 of us, and we walked through this place, and he takes us in the depths of Fort Delaware. And I saw in my first ever investigation, which really wasn't even an investigation, it was more me just kind of hanging out. I saw a half body apparition, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. I saw this, I didn't tell anybody. I saw it standing there, this man staring right at me from the shoulders up. And I'll never forget him. He had maybe shoulder length, scraggly hair, a beard like mine, but really blown out of proportion. And I could see debris, like dirt and leaves and stuff in his beard. And I walked away with that for several years, but I didn't tell anybody. But I knew when I left there that night, some way, somehow, I wanted to prove this to myself, that what I saw. So I started investigating. I didn't know what I was doing. I read some books and crap, watching TV shows, and didn't have any equipment, didn't know how to use the equipment. So I started doing locals, like, local places and getting into it. It was hard at first, nobody wants to, take you on. I didn't join any teams or anything. I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't want anybody telling me what to do and how I want to do it. And I started investigating, and a couple years later, I met my wife. We were dating at the time, and she had never done it either. And I brought her along. She started loving it. So we started doing it together, Gettysburg, places like that. And then 2011 is when I started my team, Breaking Paranormal, and kind of grew from there. Started really branching out and doing a lot of the East Coast, and growing. And then it got to the point where I had to pull back a little bit. I was spending my mortgage payment, investigating and traveling, like a lot of people do. And so I said, well, how am I going to stay in this without and keep in touch with the paranormal community? So I said, okay, YouTube, ding. I'm going to do a live YouTube. That I completely failed on that, but I did it for about a year. I grew about 100 people to my audience, and then I went to a radio type format, and which was K-Core. Did that for about 7 or 8 months. I didn't like it, so then Paranormal Warehouse contacted me, and they're like, "Hey, we like your show, man. Send us some stuff." So I sent it to them. They're like, "Hey, you start here this date." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And my audience went from 10 or 15 people to thousands, like in one night. And it just kept growing and growing. And that's where Ghost Hunters found me. Yeah. Long story short.
I think it's an awesome journey too. And I have a question this is more of like a theoretical question. And I ask this to everybody that comes on that's in the paranormal. So there's no wrong answers to it, but everybody has their own theories of why these entities are actually here, or what their purpose is for being here, or how they get here. So my question to you is, what do you think the reasoning is for these specific entities to come back and try and contact us or cause things to move, or why are they here and how do they get here?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's in my opinion, they're not all here just to kind of show us around and tell us what to do. Some of them are. I think some of them are here because they're attached to something, attached to a family member, attached to their home, whatever the attachment might be. I think some of them are here because they don't want to go. They want to stick around. And here's the other part of that equation: how do we prove they're here? Are we really? Is this paranormal activity that's going on, which is basically paranormal activity? All it is out of the norm. Is it? Are they spirits? How can we prove it? There's life after death. How can we prove these entities were once human? That's what we're trying to work on now, especially with the guys from from Ghost Hunters. Trying to take that scientific approach to it, using scientific equipment and things of that nature, and trying to really you kind of move toward the scientific community. Because the one thing I can say that we've had a lot of luck with is the scientific community reaching out to us on the show, because the way we do things and piquing their interest, and them allowing us to use equipment that has never been seen, like the EMCCD camera, which people don't realize that camera's been around for 30 or 40 years, but it was never used in our field. It's been used by NASA, it's been used by the military, and by different scientists in the field. And what it does is it measures single photon events. And photons are one of the theories that the paranormal, spirits or entities are made up of photons. So when we got, Brandon reached out to a friend of his and was able to, get his hands on that camera, and he brought it there, and we're like, well, I gotta lie. I mean, he was sure of it, but I think a lot of us were on the fence. Like, what's this? Because we use a lot of equipment that you don't even see on the show. We just like that trash, junk, not working for it. I tell you, we had pay dirt the first run with that piece of equipment. It was a godsend, man. I really hats off to Brandon. But that camera we used, that the first time we used it in Fort Stanton, New Mexico, and his first run he caught basically a full body apparition on in that form, with the photon form. And the thing was, we had other cameras. We had an IR camera, we had a thermal camera, we had camera ops or operators with their cameras, and they couldn't see this thing with their cameras. The only thing that picked it up was that EMCCD. And it was wild, man, just seeing that. And then every time we used it, not every time I go say, but pretty much we hit pay dirt on a lot of investigations with that piece of equipment. It was, and the crazy thing is, they don't all look alike, man, when you're capturing them. Sometimes you see a figure, a full body, or sometimes you'll see these light anomalies that look like something from the movie Poltergeist. These spirals of light that are just flying through the air. It's wild to watch, man. You try to wrap your head around it, and you're like, what in the hell am I seeing? Especially when you see it in real time. You're in that room and you're watching on that monitor and you see this happen. It blows your mind, because it's right there in front of you, but you cannot see it with your own eyes. The camera operator can't see it. Your thermal can't see it. Nothing's seeing it. The IR is not seeing it, but this camera's picking it up on that spectrum.
I love that, because I love science too, and I think it's such a great thing to gap that bridge between investigation and scientific experiment with all these different with different instruments, or and a lot of the thing is too is that finding those specific scientists that get on board with what you're doing, because there is that pushback from the scientific community that says, well, it's kind of objective, we don't really feel it's that. Some of these guys get shunned a little bit, which it shouldn't be. We can't explain everything, so I feel that bridging that gap too is truly epic. So now you're not only bridging the gap between the YouTube community, but you're also doing a scientific community too. And I'm telling you, I think that's what makes such a great product that you put out with it's just epic, and I think that all those communities truly need to come together to figure out what's happening.
That's a great thing, man. I mean, you're having more scientists really saying, hey, we're interested in this, but you need to kind of prove it a little bit more to us so we can kind of move into that field. And that's the great part about it, man. You're seeing that happen in real time, and you're making kind of a contribution to the field where, you maybe didn't think you were going to. I mean, everybody, if you've been in this field long enough, everybody's captured some kind of footage or, EVPs and things of that nature. And that's all great. But when you're proving it with this equipment, that's used by NASA, that's used by the scientific field, the military, and you're capturing these images in that spectrum of light that you can't see with your own eyes and other cameras can't pick it up. It makes you wonder, man. It really, you're like, okay, all right, there's something here. What's going on now? How do we further that? And how do we correlate that? And I think the way you do that is you find a location like Fort Stanton, for instance, and if you can capture that over and over and over again and compile that evidence and show it, over and over and over again to the scientific field and get their, pique their interest and get more of them involved, I think you've got something, and plus if you can measure that same thing with other pieces of equipment at the same time, I think, we're moving in the right direction. I really do. And I think, are we ever going to prove life after death? I don't know. But I think we can prove there is some kind of, it's energy. You're made of energy. And energy, you can't, it's not going anywhere. Once it leaves this vessel and your body dies, it needs to move on. And that's, it's definitely, one of the theories. And I think that's what we're seeing. That's what we're hearing. And that's the voices we're getting on EVP and these apparitions where people are seeing with their own eyes at times. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
That absolutely. And I think also with the scientific side of it too, is that in the community, we know the credible things that are happening, but that gives the naysayers, the people outside of the community, an extra notch of credibility to it too, where they maybe will take more notice to it now, saying, oh, scientists said it too, because they're not in the same world that we are, I guess you could say, but it brings them into that world. It's bridging more gaps, it's epic, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Trying our best, man. One step at a time.
Absolutely.
Daryl, that's why Ghost Hunters was my favorite, because you guys did do the scientific part of it. So that really drew me in. Before I go to the next question, Mustafa messaged me and told me to tell you, he said,
Hey, what's up, bro?
And he started talking about your beard, and I said, no, we're not going to go there.
It's a glorious beard. I'm not going to lie.
It is.
It's absolutely glorious. I wish I could grow a beard like that. I can't do it.
Thank you.
I don't have either the facial structure or the facial hair to pull that off, but commending you on that as well. It's epic.
Mustafa.
Yeah, Mustafa. So yeah, I thought it was funny, so I had to tell you. So have you ever brought anything home with you, like from an investigation?
I can't prove it. I believe I have. I had a pretty insane experience about 6-7 years ago now, where I brought something back, and it kind of played havoc with my life for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it just went away. And it's still, it still boggles my mind to this day what was going on. And like I said, I can't prove it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to prove it. I do want to go back to that location at some point and try to, and I would love to take some of the guys with me, like Brandon, Mustafa, anybody, and try to prove and recreate what happened and see if we get the same experiences. The real thing that worried me about the whole thing was the fact that I brought something back with my family here, and that really bothered me because I believe my son at the time, he was 2. I believe he was seeing it, and that really upset me, and it almost made me quit doing what I'm doing, but thank God I didn't. And yeah, I would love to go back to this location, the House of Wills. Yeah.
I'm going to give you some things that people are saying in the comments.
Uh-oh.
George is on, George Shoplin, and he's saying hey to you. And Ed Broderick, he is a priest, and I know him, and he's saying that he's actually getting an EVP on the audio while we're on here.
Really? On our audio.
On our audio as we're doing this. Yes.
What did it say?
And then there's a lady saying that she's hearing some growling. But she said it could be feedback, but there's definitely something going on this broadcast with us.
Oh, okay.
But it's only fitting, right? I mean, it's only fitting for what we're doing, I guess, part of the course.
Things happen. Tell me, I was here doing a podcast about 6 months ago, a live stream, and I was sitting in the opposite direction, and I was using my phone on a tripod, and I had this picture of Salem's Lot behind me, and we were talking about the place I was just talking about, and that picture's been on that wall for 7 years, and it just flew off the wall, man.
Oh, man.
Right in the middle of the live stream, you can see it, man. Just boom, landed on the floor.
That's epic, man. So let me ask you this question. Now that you have some of this scientific equipment, what tends to be your most favorite piece of equipment out in the field as soon as you get there, or after a couple of hours?
I mean, I definitely gotta say, the most spectacular piece of equipment I've ever worked with is definitely the EMCCD. But I think, for the average investigator, if you go out by yourself, I love body cams. I've kind of made body cams famous for paranormal. It's weird. It's really weird to see everybody wearing a body cam now anywhere I go, or on social media, especially. I love body cams, man, because it's like having another investigator with you, and you basically just clip it on, you turn it on, you forget about it. And that's how we've caught some amazing evidence, because we just forgot we have our body cam on. We have it pointing in the right direction. When we're looking this way, it's capturing this. And I do like the EDI Plus. I love that piece of equipment. It's kind of like, it's become if you're a carpenter, it's kind of like our hammer. It goes everywhere with us, just to give us readings and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, I think my go-to would definitely be body cams, just because they have great audio, man. People don't realize how good on a body cam, especially on some of the better ones. And they really, the price range isn't that bad. I mean, I haven't seen any more than $250, $300 for one. The IR is amazing on them. The audio is amazing. Whatever the frame rate on some of these body cams are, it's great stuff, man. And it looks great. It really does. It comes off good. You capture some really cool stuff with it.
Well, absolutely too. And it's always, if you've ever been on an investigation, when you're not looking or when the camera is turned in a different direction is when things happen. So that body cam facilitates the ability to always be on point or on, aware of your surroundings or what you're looking at. So I mean, that's definitely a helpful system to and take on as you go out into the field like that. I just think that's a very smart thing to do. Very smart.
And the thing is, we got to the point where we started clipping on the back of our shirts or our jackets, or back of our belt or whatever, pointing behind us, because you're walking down a hallway, you're seeing in front of you, you're not seeing what's behind you. I mean, usually the camera op is behind you, or in front of you too, so he's not seeing. He's pointing on you, so he's not seeing anything. And it's nice, man, because you can go back and review that footage. It might take a while. But if you do your due diligence and you look at it all, you might capture something really cool. I know Brandon and Mustafa in Pampa, Texas, they caught some really cool stuff on their body cam. I believe it was the body cam of this shadow figure kind of just popping out in the hallway real quick, kind of looking down the hallway and popping back real quick. And they weren't even looking in that direction. I think they saw it with their own eyes at one point, but the actual camera caught it, which was really cool.
Gave him like a corner eye grab. We actually have a caller calling in, so let's admit the caller in. Caller, how are you? Who are you? And say hi to Daryl.
Hi, Daryl. I'm doing well tonight. Daryl, I was wondering, in some of your investigations, have you ever been physically harmed?
Yeah, but I didn't get hurt. And if you read my bio, one of the reasons I always mention the House of Wills and Anderson Hotel is because they're probably the two places outside the show I had the most crazy experiences on. Anderson Hotel I was investigating, which is in Kentucky. I was there and I had something actually, I'm 220 pounds. It picked me up and threw me through a chair.
Wow.
And I still to this day don't know what that was. I didn't feel anything. I didn't get hurt. I just remember kind of opening my eyes. I'm laying on the floor. I felt this rush of energy, and I kind of opened my eyes. I'm in a pitch black room, and there's a chair underneath me that smashed. It was a kitchen chair. I'll never forget it. And I got up. I remember grabbing the investigator who was with me and pulling them out of the building, and we left. And we went back about 2 months later, and it didn't happen the second time. So that's the only thing that's really ever happened to me physically. And to this day, I don't know what it was. And I'm not going to try to put a name to it or saying, I don't use the D word, demonic, or any of that stuff. I just think if it was something that was pissed off that we were there. It was, I think we were intruding, and it just didn't want us there.
In your efforts to raise money for this fireman that lost his house, what kind of things are you doing?
Oh, it's not me. I just happened to be the one they reached out to, Mustafa and myself, and it's Interstate Paranormal. They're a local team out of Lake Delaware, Pennsylvania. But what they're doing is they're basically taking gift cards, like cash donations to the link and things of that nature to give back to the family. And the thing is, which is really cool about it, is because at first they started out with one family. And I think it's kind of, like I said, kind of gained some momentum, and they're going to try to do more than one family now for the holidays, which is really good. The more people we can help with that, especially this time and age and the things we're going through, well, everybody in this country, I know everybody's going through hard times, all of us are. And I think it's great, just to give back. And it makes you feel good. It makes me feel good. Everybody, it doesn't matter what it is, But if you go on their link, it tells you exactly what they're accepting.
We actually put the link in the comment section of this live stream, so you can find it within the link that we have here. We have a link to Interstate Paranormal's business page, and I believe you'll also be able to find the link, because me and Melinda are also going to donate. But whatever we could do to get the word out, would definitely, want to help as many people as we possibly can. So,
yeah.
Well, I was wondering if you had ever considered like a meet and greet for a donation, because I know there's a lot of people who would jump at the chance to meet you, Mustafa, a bunch of you.
Yeah, I mean, if we could set it up, I don't know where you're located, but we would definitely do something like that where we can, set up a location, we all can, meet there and make it a charitable cause. Absolutely, that's a good idea. I never really thought of that, because most people reach out to me, they want to buy me for the night and have me investigate with them. But I would love to do something like that where I just give back.
I have a donation thing for a special guest, not necessarily to go on an investigation, but to go to one of the places that you've already, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something we can really think about. And I could reach out to my management company and actually could probably set something like that up for us. I mean, probably with everything. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, people would pay big money for that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for the idea. I'm not going to steal it from you, but I'm going to reach out to my manager and say, hey, let's try to do something like this. I don't know where are you located?
I'm sorry?
Where are you located? Like what state?
I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay, yeah. I'm further up east. I'm only ever outside of Philadelphia, but and Mustafa's not far from me. But we could definitely, maybe set something up, in Virginia, someplace like that, and do some kind of meet and greet, and raise donations for these families, and maybe set some kind of charitable calls and do something.
Where are you guys?
Yeah.
that sounds.
What state are you all in?
I'm in Delaware, and
I was raised in Maryland.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I was raised in Maryland.
Oh, cool. Whereabouts?
Laurel.
Laurel, Maryland. Okay, yeah, cool. Not far. About 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. If you all ever make it a little further south, Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary would be a really good place to go.
Oh, I want to get in there. I actually, somebody reached out to me about that back in the summer about coming there, and with the whole COVID thing and everybody, not being able to travel, I kind of like put it on the back burner. But that is a definitely go to. I've seen some amazing footage and evidence coming out of that location. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, on Halloween night they had a country concert there. So.
Oh, really? A country concert? Okay, cool. That's different.
Awesome.
They started doing that.
We've got quite a few callers in the waiting room here. There's some people who want to talk to you, Daryl. I'm not going to lie about it. We got Reverend Ed calling in. We're going to admit Reverend Ed as well. Caller, thank you so much for calling. Reverend Ed, how are you? Thank you for calling in. We'll speak to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, Carol.
Bye.
Reverend Ed is actually here he's actually in via Skype. Reverend Ed, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? And hello, Daryl. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Reverend Ed. How you doing, sir?
Your mustache and beard combo is stellar, I gotta say. Okay. So,
thank you.
I mean, that combination in itself is paranormal. I love it.
Yeah. How you doing, man? Appreciate you.
Hey, no worries. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I appreciate what you're doing with that the fireman and there's so much I guess they call it parabullying around so much, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Ridiculous that we if we have the means to help somebody else out, why not?
That's right. I mean, if you got the means to do it, man, you got to do it. It's your duty, in my opinion, to especially being as blessed as I've been in the position I'm in. And anybody, I mean, to give back, man, however you can. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm the third in the triad of Melinda, Rob, and then there's me.
Oh, great. Awesome,
so,
man.
Yeah. And the kind of work that I do is I'm more of a, I don't know how I would describe myself other than Melinda and I were talking about that earlier, like a sensitive / exorcist. So, prophetic exorcist, sensitive exorcist. I give people hugs afterwards, I guess, apparently. Yeah. But one of the things I noticed while we were talking was I was the one that wrote that I bet if we went over the sound of this show, we were going to come up with an EVP because I just could feel that there was some sound, and it's not going on right now, but it was earlier, and we heard it was both Ramona and myself. We kind of heard this growling, kind of roaring thing.
I heard something through the speakers too. It wasn't just you. I did hear it, but I just thought it was maybe a little bit of residual feedback because he doesn't have headphones on or something.
Right.
But
maybe like
I did hear something.
Yeah. But then I kind of heard like a voice as well.
I didn't hear that. That you're gonna have to tell us what it said because I didn't hear that at all.
But it was almost like a female thing. So I don't know if you've been having experiences where there's a female presence around you, but I can tell you, your apartment or the building that you're living right now is not empty. There's been stuff going. Oh yeah, there's been stuff going on since we were talking. Little subtle things like little movements. The light was flickering a little bit. Then there was some things that were moving behind you, and subtle things like that. And then I noticed that there might be a possibility that you have an attachment. So, like when somebody asked you if you brought something home, I was like, I knew he's going to say something like yes because. And it's not because of anything bad that you do. It's because you have like this motorcycle guy exterior, but you're a big teddy bear. So it's like, you care for people.
Yeah.
And you're one of those, and I can see it, and I've never met you, but I have a feeling that you're like one of those guys that likes to have a good time on the road trip to the case.
Yeah. Well, you got to, man. Yeah.
And not be so serious, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be shadow people running all over the place, and somebody might get hurt. No, you're like the guy that just lays back and tells a big shit joke, like.
Yeah, I try, man. I mean, everybody on the show is kind of like that, but yeah, I try to. I try not to be too serious. There's times to be serious. There's times not to be. You know, when you have to kind of lighten the mood. And,
That's true.
And yeah, one of them is always when you're traveling, man, because not it'll drive you stir crazy. Yeah, especially flying or driving 6-7 hours in a vehicle with the same people you shoot, a show with, for 15-16 hours a night. You gotta lighten the mood, kind of loosen up. Yep.
Now, it's an unusual question, and I don't mean to monopolize. So if you have a question, Rob, go ahead. I'm sorry, but I do have one question I wanted to ask, but I can ask him after.
That's what we were going into now is, when you travel and you have basically all this time with these people, what are some of the things that you do maybe to separate yourself at times and decompress from all these, stressful? It's not stressful because you should be having fun while doing it, but I'm sure that there's moments where it gets a little bit tense.
Oh yeah.
And there's the question. Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically, let loose is. I mean, I'm very big into working out every day, and that's one of the first things I do when I wake up in the morning on the road. When I'm in a hotel, I'll hit the gym, or if there's a local gym or something, I'm there, and that's just kind of the stress relief, and kind of hanging out. And then it's we all get together. Sometimes we go out and eat. Sometimes it's just one or two of us. But we just the thing is people don't realize they think on these shows that the guys show up. I can't speak for their shows, don't get me wrong, but I know in ours, when we show up, we're usually there anywhere from 12 to 16 hours. And it's not just nights. We just don't show up when it gets dark and investigate and we leave at 2 in the morning. No, we usually there earlier in the morning, probably mid-morning, doing eyewitness interviews and things of that nature, kind of staking out the place, setting up cameras and things of that nature. And then we go into investigation mode since it gets dark. And then we're there sometimes 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Since we've been known to show up at the hotel and the sun's coming up and the birds are singing. So every time's a little bit different, but I mean, yeah, I think another thing too is kind of keep in contact with your family, on Zoom or Skype every day. Just find out, keep on, what's going on at home, and that's kind of our stress relief, man. We all go back to our rooms and kind of just vent, just decompress. Not much TV or anything, just kind of just decompress and look quiet.
Absolutely, and with this going on with the way it is with lockdowns and things like that, keeping in touch with your family is like something that we all actually probably have learned within the last 8 months.
Yeah.
I haven't seen my mother in a while, and I can't. She's in Dallas. I'm in New York. So it's definitely a good thing.
I wish I had stock in Zoom before all this, man.
Well, that's it. And the other part of that is the process. That process that people don't truly see behind that camera is there's more investigating going on, as in the sense of, there's like you said, there's the canvassing of everything, making sure you have the right spots for the cameras. There's so much more that goes on than just what you see in those little clips, because those clips are probably taken and cut up and they're not the full range of it. So it's truly commendable too. And to be on your feet for that amount of hours it's miraculous in some cases. I mean, you could do it in a row is tiring.
Lots of coffee, lots of Red Bull, things of that nature, just keep yourself going. And don't get me wrong, there's times where it's like hurry up and wait,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the worst. I'd rather just be busy the whole time and moving, because it goes a lot faster. But the hurry up and waits are like, sometimes you might be setting a base camp for 2 or 3 hours, waiting to get into a location, or reviewing evidence, which is always it's just like time consuming, and you're just like, oh, it's one of the things I hate the most is reviewing evidence. But it's all for a good thing, man. We love what we do. In my opinion, it's the greatest job in the world. I mean, who else, you could say, not a lot of people you can say actually get paid to do what they love, and I can't complain. Every time you might want to complain about it, you're like, shut up, just shut up. You tell yourself that, just shut up. You got the greatest job in the world. Anybody would kill to be in your position. So yeah.
Well, that's what they say. When you love what you do, you never truly work a day in your life. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure Melinda's got a couple questions going on too. Melinda, I see you're chomping at the bit, ready to get in here.
Yes.
Melinda, jump in.
Uh,
Jump in.
Okay, so Daryl, is there a place that you haven't investigated that you would love to investigate?
Oh, there's plenty, but I think I've said before on other shows, probably I would love to investigate Amityville, just for the simple fact that I don't think it's ever been investigated, especially on a show. And just get in there, and I know there's the rumors that it was fake and this and that and the other, and there's some evidence that people say that's real. I'd love to get in there and just canvass the place and investigate it for a week or so and try to really figure out what happened and what's going on there, if it is active or not. I think that would be amazing. Also, one that's very, accessible to me, that's just I haven't been able to investigate yet for obvious reasons, is Tombstone. I was actually right next to Tombstone when I was flying in Arizona, and I didn't get a chance to really do anything there, but I've been asked many times over the last couple of years to go there and investigate, and I'll get there eventually, but I just want to do the Birdcage Theater and just feel the energy of that location. It'd be amazing. It's such an epic location.
Now, Daryl, have you ever heard of the Midgley Bridge in Sedona, Arizona?
No, I have not.
Oh gosh, you're gonna have to come out here. We've got to do that together. It's a bridge in Sedona,
Okay.
and what happened is there was a family there with their little girl, and she was like 3, and she fell off, and it killed her.
Oh.
So then it's like in the past 5 to 8 years, they've had like 15 to 20 deaths where people are drawn to that bridge late at night and they jump.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's weird.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. I went up there and it's amazing. So that would be, you've got to do that with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I love Arizona. I love Texas. I love all that. I love the West. New Mexico, places like that. Colorado. Had a lot of great experiences out there. A lot of great locations out there. Everybody says, "Oh, everything's on the East Coast." No, it's not. Believe me, you go out west, man. There are some cool places, and just the whole ambiance of the desert and the mountains and all that. Just it draws me in for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it just draws me in. I love it.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Have you ever done an investigation or anything on a reservation?
I've not investigated on a reservation, kind of. I've stayed on reservations during filming because that's the only places that had hotels. We kind of did when we were in Idaho. It was part reservation, part Mormon, and very, very strange activity out there. Didn't really get to investigate like any Native American type stuff, but we stayed on. They're pretty hardcore. It was straight reservation. It was a casino hotel we stayed in, and it's pretty wild. Just seeing that it's a whole other world. And I would love to. I've always been very drawn to the Native American aspect of the paranormal and just their culture. Being a third Cherokee myself, and not really be able to kind of find your heritage or your roots. I think it'd be amazing to go investigate at a location like that. It's just you don't want to step on any feet. You don't want to upset anybody, so you got to really watch what you're doing on reservations, and that's the big thing.
Right. See, I'm half Navajo and half Apache, but I'm considered what's a lost bird. I was taken at birth, but I found my real family in 2010. But anyway, I was the Lakota in South Dakota, North Dakota area. They reached out to me, said that they had a phantom car, and it happens late at night. And the car comes up behind you, and they gave me permission to come onto the reservation, film it and everything. Because like you said, you have to get their permission and all of this. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, because, and they give me certain things, they told me, if someone was with me, then of course they could come on and they could film whatever they wanted to do. But he said it was a phantom car, and there's like hundreds of reports of it.
Wow.
And it gets behind them and it revs up the motor, and then they pull over to see, he said, I pulled over to see what was the problem, and he said it's gone.
Wow, that's cool. That'd be really cool. I mean, I've heard of phantom cars before. You hear, stories about stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. I mean, if that is, the case, and there is some, paranormal activity like that, I mean, in my opinion, it's probably residual.
Mhm.
But it would be really cool to check it out and try to, capture something like that. Absolutely.
Well, I will talk to them because, I told them I would want someone like you, or someone that has the experience of, the scientific way and everything about it. So maybe
absolutely.
we can talk about that, and I can work that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to get on a reservation and actually, and just do something. You investigate. We were. I mean, we were in Fort Stanton, New Mexico, which is it's Apache and Mescalero, which Mescalero is basically Apache, just kind of a branch off. It's all their territory except for the state park we were on, which was Fort Stanton, and they got some crazy stuff going on out there. Not just entities, but they have these skinwalkers they talk about, and that's one of the the eyewitness reports, and not just one. You're talking multiple people. A Boy Scout troop witnessed this, and then you got these UFO phenomenon that are going on out there at the same time. And literally, Fort Stanton is like 50 miles from Roswell, and actually the mountain right behind Fort Stanton, I can't remember the name of it, but there was 2 crashes, and the one crash was on the mountain behind Fort Stanton. And we didn't get a chance to go up there or anything, but I would love to check that out. Just the whole Native American, thing is just it's amazing to me, and there's so much heritage there. It's just the skinwalkers and everything they believe, and it's cool. It's such a cool aspect and look on the paranormal. And I wish more people would get into it.
Right. And, there again, I can get you on the Navajo reservation. I can get you on the Apache reservation. And like you were saying skinwalkers. Well, in the traditional Navajo way, you will not hear them say that. They call them shapeshifters, because their belief is that you will bring it to you if you say skinwalker.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was production who was calling it the skin. It wasn't them. They were actually calling it. And we didn't really, it wasn't the Native Americans who were telling us about it. These were just regular people who would visit the fort, excuse me, and they were calling it a dog man, is what they were calling it.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that too. I've heard of that too.
Like certain people described it a little bit differently. Some people said it was this 6 to 7 foot tall looking bipedal creature with a dog head. Some people were saying it was lower to the ground, but it always had this dog-like feature about it, which is really cool. And the thing was, we investigated it, but the thing was, we really didn't kind of talk about the whole skinwalker or shapeshifter dogman thing on the actual episode, because we had so much other stuff to cover at that location, because there's multiple locations there to investigate at Fort Stanton, and we kind of stayed away from that, shied away from it a little bit for production reasons. But I would love to get back into some of that stuff, especially the Apache, type stuff. I mean, to me, it's amazing. It's such a part of our country's history that is really, in my opinion, the paranormal side is kind of untapped. It's tapped, but not tapped enough.
Right.
And, I would love to see, not just myself, but other people start getting into it. And like I said, there's a lot of red tape, and you got to really, make sure you get permission. And I would love to check some of that stuff out. You got it. Let's do it.
Okay, I will start work on that, because there's a place here in Arizona, Fort Bowie, and that's where Geronimo was held. Yeah. And we went there, and you can see Well, what I saw was spirits, and Geronimo was there, and you can hear late at night between 1 and 3, you'll start hearing drumming,
Okay.
and it's just amazing. But
Oh,
I
wow.
can get us into all of those places.
Nice. We're there.
That's one of
Okay.
the great things about being on Melinda's team is she has these assets that we could just go to and explore as like the first time kind of thing. It's wild. We do have another caller, so
Okay.
I'm going to let them in really quick to ask a question. Caller, you there? Hello, caller.
Hello? Yeah. Hold on. Let me put my headphone. I was on hold for a while. Sorry.
Apologize for that. I
Hold on.
apologize for that. Can I have your name, please? And you want to say hi to Daryl?
Is this Daryl?
No, this is Rob right now.
How you doing, Rob?
How are you?
Sorry, I didn't hear you quite.
That's
Good.
okay.
Lexi.
Do you want to give us your name and say hi to Daryl?
Yeah, it's Derek.
Oh, hey, what's going on, Daryl?
Hey, Derek. How you doing, bud?
Not bad. I got in. I've been waiting for a while. The guy with the beard. What's your name? He's a real interesting dude. I want to talk to him.
It's
Daryl.
Derek.
Have the beard. Which Daryl? Are you Daryl?
Yeah.
Okay, Daryl. Yeah. I came in the show late and I didn't quite catch his name. I got a couple questions about the paranormal. The main question I have is when you're going to do, we'll call it ghost hunting, do you bring psychics or anything like that with you? And do you wear any protection? Obviously, you believe in these things. So do you have more beliefs where you have protection and stuff like that? Because Ed said there you might have an attachment, right? And there's things that kind of help to keep those things away.
Yeah, I do not wear protection. I have my own beliefs. As far as psychics, I have nothing against psychics. I don't bring them on my investigations. As far as on the show, I've worked with them in the past. Yeah, off the show. And as far as me believing, I'm a skeptic. I'm not a true believer in anything. I'm very skeptical about everything, especially on investigations. I don't care what I'm told. I don't care what the eyewitness reports are. I want to see it and hear it for myself and prove it to myself before I can just go out there and start talking about it. I always, I believe what the person's saying, what they saw or they heard. But I need to see and hear it for myself, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't be doing anybody a service for me just saying, oh yeah, everything's paranormal, when it's not. About 99% of what paranormal can be, you can disclaim and debunk easily.
Right. Now, some of these, we'll say more on the ghost hunting. The reason I'm asking is because we'll say work with, and no, Ed knows, we'll call them light workers. And let's just say they're dealing with these things on a different aspect. And I I'm watching paranormal guys and I'm going, some of them are just kind of really pissing stuff off and not dealing with this. They're getting evidence, but they're not clearing the space or removing the problem. And I'm kind of wondering, if you're going there and there is something, shouldn't you think there's people that know how to deal with it? And I'm just wondering how come or why not that's never been thought about or something, because as someone that on the other side's going, oh, they're just making it angry, really.
Well, there are shows out there and there are groups out there who do that type of work. Yeah. What they call removal. I don't know if it's possible or not. I don't know if I believe in it. Like I said, I've never seen it done. I can't prove it to be done. But I agree with you. If they're, instead of going in and pissing off an entity, which you should never do, that's not right, for one thing. And that's something I would never, suggest anybody do. Why don't you go and try to help it? See if, there's something that you can help with instead of trying just to piss it off to get ratings or to get a thrill out of it, a rise out of it. So, I agree with you there. I mean, but like I said, with the light workers and stuff, I don't know much about it because I don't really deal with it. It's not what I do. If you were willing to try it out,
I think you would find it quite interesting if you brought a few psychic mediums and people that know this stuff on that aspect and helped you clear the space, etc. They can even see the mediums. It's all about frequency. I don't know how they emit frequencies. There's things that are, and the mediums sometimes can draw that stuff in, and they can even tell you where they're at, and then your devices will start going off and everything else. So if you're willing to try some mediums, it might make it a little more interesting for you.
Well, like I said, I've worked with them in the past. I've worked with them off the show. That's not what we do on a show, because everything on Ghost Hunters is more of a scientific approach where you can prove it. Because we have a client we have to deal with at the end of the show. And it's, I believe there's a lot of great psychics out there. I've dealt with quite a few that kind of blow my mind with some of the things they've told me, and some of the things I've seen them do. So it's not that I don't believe in them. I don't work with them that much. So yeah, I mean, I'm totally open with working with anybody, as long as they're on the up and up. Absolutely.
Well, that's really one of the things that when we do these things is you're open to a lot of different pathways to try and find that possible evidence. And I apologize, caller. We're about to close up shop here, so I'm going to give you one last word, and then we got to let you go.
You caught me off. I just want to say thanks for taking the call, and I like to call again and talk to you again.
Absolutely,
sometime, Daryl. You're an interesting guy there.
We love calls. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in tonight.
Thanks for taking my call.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. All right, everybody. We're getting to that point where we're just about at the end of the show. Daryl, I want you to let everybody know where they can find all of the places to watch the shows and catch up with what you're doing on a daily basis if you want. You want to give them all your websites?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can go to you Google Daryl Marston, you're going to come up with all my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check me out on Paranormal Warehouse. I am the co-owner of Paranormal Warehouse, Epic Haunts, which is the Paranormal Warehouse YouTube page. Paranormal Warehouse Facebook page is where we have a huge following, and we're growing our YouTube side of it right now with Epic Haunts. And stay tuned for the next episode coming out here soon once we film it. And we have a lot of new other content on there, as well as some smaller stuff from Epic Haunts as we do. And go check it out, guys. It's good. It's great stuff. And also, check me out on Death Wish Coffee, one of my sponsors. And thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, it was truly an honor to have you, man. I'm a fan, and this is an epic conversation we've had so far. And I want to thank you. It's truly been amazing. And hopefully you get to come with me and Melinda to some of these places. It'd be truly epic.
Yeah, once we get kind of get released from this quarantine stuff, definitely. I'd love to get out there and do some stuff. Yeah, amazing.
Well, Daryl, you know how I feel. You know I'm your top fan, and I'll definitely work on getting that stuff together. And we've definitely got to do it.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on. It was really an honor.
It was a great show, guys. Thank you. I love your format.
Thank you. Thank you. So with that being said, guys, please join us next week from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. here on the Seer and the Scholar. We'd like to thank everybody who called in and all the people who joined us, especially Reverend Ed. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys on the next show.